Bob,
What up?
why are we so excited?
Because Lopez Lake is at almost maximum capacity, brother. I haven't been back here in this spot for 15 years, dude. For 15 years I haven't fished. This is one of my favorite spots back here. I'm about to show you.
Just to put into context what you're about to see in this episode, Lopez Lake was at 22% in December of 2022. This lake looked extremely different than it does in this episode. The water has dropped so low that they've even closed the launch ramps a few times in the last few years. The last time we were even here was when we were with Leroy and we were catching red ear sunfish to make sandwiches. You'll even see at the end of this video, the water is about 5 feet away from the spillway. The last time this lake was over the spillway was back in 1998, over 20 years ago.
Break it down for us, Bob. What are we sitting at?
The lake is sitting at 90% right now and still rising.
Wow. And it was like 88 yesterday. So the creek is still filling in. So in this video, we're gonna be grinding. We are under no delusion that we're gonna slam the bass today, because yeah, look at the water. The water is chocolate milk. And that means that we're gonna be focusing on baits that have vibration, have a lot of flash. There was a tournament here maybe 5 days ago, and it was rough. Like, many big sticks in this tournament. Guys who fish really, really well and do well normally left without catching one or catching two. There was only one boat out of the whole tournament who caught a limit of bass. And we're gonna fish a bunch, but we're gonna update you on what it looks like out here. We brought the drone. We're gonna get some cool shots of different areas that you guys are familiar with. Bob, how was the drive up?
The drive up was exciting, bro. As soon as I hit the dam and I saw the water level, I was pumped. It's pretty amazing to see this place like this, and haven't seen it like this in almost 2 decades, man. It's pretty crazy.
How was the launch?
Launch is like 5 foot to the parking lot. It's right there. It's amazing.
Bob was just saying, man, we were so excited about Kachuma being 100%. This is that same feeling, like, oh, this rain that we just got over the last couple weeks, a couple months, has just been such an amazing thing for the lakes, but I'm sure it's gonna be amazing for the ocean and striped bass and all of that. I'm just so excited, but it might take some time before all this water clears out. This lake still has a recommended 5-mile-an-hour speed limit, just because there's logs floating around, a lot of submerged things that you might hit. So we're gonna be really mindful of that too, but let's fish. We just can't wait to get our lines wet. Again, it's gonna be a grind, but we brought everything that we could think of that might be good in these conditions. So thanks for joining. Let's fish. I haven't seen back here ever. This lake hasn't been this full in probably, yeah, like Bob said, over almost 20 years. Currently, water temperature is 58 degrees, which Bob says is ideal to get them starting to get into that spawning mode. So there should be some cruisers. We just can't see them at all because they're in this chocolate milk. So what's your game plan with baits and all that?
Right now, I'm throwing a chartreuse spinner bait with gold blades, since the water is super dirty. That chartreuse is really going to stand out. If you can see down here, the gold blade makes a big difference in the dirty water. Hard to see, but I think the vibration and the color is going to attract them. So we're just going to burn shoreline and check it out.
So we covered a lot of water. How long have we been fishing now, Bob?
It's 1 o'clock. 3 hours? 3 hours.
3 hours of fishing this muddy, dirty water. Throwing everything at him. Well, spinner baits. Bob's been doing a lot of flipping, and we went out into the end of Lopez Arm, just as far back as you can go, and it's really in tight. And the thing that's weird is that the water temperature is 58 degrees. So it's pretty warm, but it's mainly because since the water is so dark that it warms up really fast and it holds heat a lot better. So it was just a big change in water levels that are really keeping these fish kind of in a funk. Right, Bob?
Yeah.
They were getting them pretty good a couple weeks back.
Yeah, our buddies over there said they got them pretty good.
Yeah.
Some big fish. But yeah, drastic water change, so it's pretty tough. But it's all good. We're having fun.
It looks so good back here. It's like a freaking postcard.
Well,
We're not even.
I've never gone that far back there.
You've never gone this far?
No, that far back there.
It's crazy, man.
Come to like right here, but
Uh-huh.
I've never gone all the way the fuck over there.
Look at that. It's way back there. There's the bridge. You can't even see the bridge anymore, and it's all the way that way. It's freaking wild. Before we talk about the water levels and our experience out at the lake, now that it's 91%, let's talk about the fishing. That's it. There's like nothing to say about the fishing because we skunked. First time in a long time we actually got to a lake and didn't catch anything, but it did meet expectations. We knew from the beginning that the bite's going to be ridiculous, going to be tough. Actually, it definitely fell below Bob's expectation. He thought he was at least going to catch one. I thought I was going to catch something too, but you know, I'm not surprised. But in terms of the lake level, it was really cool. We pretty much checked out every corner of this lake. We went to a couple coves that actually had water still coming in. You could hear it. It almost sounded like wind, but it was actually water emptying into the lake. So right now, you guys could check out 805webcams.com and you can see how much water is entering Lopez Lake as we speak. Let me check right now real quick. 805 webcams. I should have signal. There you go. So 805 webcams. Checking it out. Let's scroll down to Lopez Lake. Boom, right there. And then if you guys remember on the last Kachuma Lake episode, I showed you this actually has a slider that you guys can go back and forth and see where the lake level was to where it is now in one picture. So that's pretty cool. So this is what it is currently, and then what it was before the rain. So it looks like it was December 5th, 2022. It looked like that. And then, you see that, Bob? That's what it looked like in December. And then that's what it looks like now.
Yeah.
Sick. All right, and then if we, I think it was on the top. When you're on the top, it shows that we're at 91.3%. Current elevation's 518, let's call it 518. We're at less than 5 feet until the spillway, and it's currently 186 CFS in terms of how much water is coming into the lake, and the temperature is actually accurate. It's saying 58 degrees. We did see a range of about 58 degrees all the way up to 61. So if it wasn't raining, then they should be active and ready for that spawn. But I'd probably give this lake at least 2 or 3 weeks to start having those fish bite. Actually, we will see some rain next week, so we'll see what happens. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this lake update. You enjoyed the footage from above the marina and into Pozo, but it's definitely welcomed to see the lake like this. We haven't seen the lake like this since around 2005-ish, and I actually haven't even ever seen the lake at 100%, which it is at 91.2 right now. I really think that we're going to see a 100% Lopez Lake in 2023. So who knows when this is gonna happen again, but at least we got some cool footage of it.
All we got was footage. Big blanks. We were not heroes today. It was big zeros. But that's what happens. It's fishing. We'll try again in a couple of weeks once this weather gets a little better and the water clears up. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. See you then.
We need like 3 weeks, no rain. I think, for this to start clearing up, settling down, and being fishable. But Lopez Lake is that kind of lake where if it rains a lot, like one day, it won't fill up. It needs days of rain to fill up, because the surrounding land soaks up all of the water, and then once the water, or once the ground is all saturated around the lake, that's when you start to see the runoff and water come into the lake. But we've had weeks of rain now, so every bit of rain from here on out, since the ground is all saturated, it's all gonna go into the lake. Any surprises on what you saw today, Bob? Anything surprise you?
Nothing really surprised me, just a lot of water going back way back into the back of the creek. So it's been almost 20 years, so it's been pretty cool to get the boat back in there. But I'm sure fishing's gonna get good, and it's gonna be an incredible spring and summer, and we'll see what happens.
What'd you think about Pozo, like that whole area?
Oh yeah, there was further back than I've ever been. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and I thought it was really cool that the dam is so high up. Like the spillway is, yeah, like 5 feet away, basically 5 more feet, and it'll be the spillway.
Oh, it's gonna happen this week with the upcoming rain coming, and the constant runoff that's still pouring into the lake. It's gonna hit 100% for sure. So it's pretty exciting to see.
Other than that, I mean, that was the story of the day. So muddy. We tried to use baits that had a lot of vibration, a lot of flash. Our buddies did catch one later on in the day. Nice little 3-pounder. But yeah. We look forward to a good bite here one of these days. Stay tuned.